Good evening and welcome to another edition of Football Corner, a show where we give you the best of prediction, highlights and much more of updates and everything that was surrounding the Football Corner. And in today's show, we are looking at the games played this week, especially in the AFCON Africa Cup qualifiers, as well as the Euro National League games that were played, and as well as we'll touch more of the the upcoming AFCON Women National Africa Cup for women, which will be played in Morocco on the which will start at 2nd of July, ending to the end of the month of July. And we'll talk about much of the highlights, especially for Zambia national team, male national team, which was played against Lesotho, and other games that will be played. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is PC Williams, and this is Football Corner. Well, we are looking at the game that was making headlines, especially the Zambia national team. The Zambia played against the Comoros, but now since that game has passed, a lot of people are talking about the next game, which is the Zambia national team, the male side, which will play against Lesotho, and we saw that Lesotho failed to armor Ivory Coast. Now the question is, will Zambia beat Lesotho? Looking at the result that we saw last week. But let's hold on a little bit now. Let's shift our attention to National League, the UEFA National League games. And before I go in details, let me introduce my guest, Sanga, who's here to give us some in-depth analysis on the games. Sanga, welcome back to Football Corner.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, you know, we are looking at the UEFA National League games, especially the game that was played yesterday as well as during the week. Now, my worry is the performance of these bigger teams, especially Germany, Italy, and Spain. If you look at Spain, we knew Spain as the dominant side. Whenever everybody is playing against Spain, you have to shiver. But looking at the recent results, they are not performing to the best way we know them. Is it because of the transition of the Xavi era to the newcomers, the youngsters?
Yeah, it can be because if you look at the Xavi era, they had the likes of Iniesta and all those other experienced players. But this time around, they've shifted their attention to the younger generation, where you see people like Pedri coming to the squad and all that. So it is time for change. So at this time, I wouldn't really compare this team to the other one.
So do you think Spain have the chance of winning the World Cup, 2022 Qatar World Cup?
Yeah, there is a possibility, because if you see the way they've been performing, yeah, you can see that there is something in progress, which is currently they are heading towards something, and they've been working really hard in order for them to achieve something at the end of the day.
You know, I was analyzing their midfield compared to the previous midfield we were used to, especially the likes of Busquets, Iniesta, and Xavi. Now they have youngsters like Pedri, Gavi holding the midfield together with Busquets, who's still there, but now the coordination is not that to our expectation, like the way we knew Spain, because Spain was more dominant in the midfield, but now they are looking more like fully attacking midfield, like the way Netherlands plays compared to the tiki-taka, the one that we know Spain of.
If you look at the previous squad, like you said, they had who's this, Iniesta, Xavi, as well as Busquets. These guys actually used to play from the same club, which is Barcelona, and at the same time they actually used to play for Spain. Now these guys who are playing for Spain right now, you can find that only 2 of those guys are actually from the same team. So the other guy, when the other guy comes in, has to adapt to the same playing style.
Koke.
Yeah, exactly. So those guys, they used to train together, so they know each other. Whenever they are playing together, they combine well, but these guys, when you bring in someone else, that person has to adapt to the way the other two are playing.
Yeah.
So that's it.
And not only Spain was having challenges when it comes to performances, especially now the 2014 World Cup champion Germany. Most of their results is draws, 1-1, 0-0. What is happening to Germany?
Yeah,
the machines. Is it the machines we know? German machines.
It's the same thing, because if you see, it's not only Germany, it's not only Spain, even England. These guys are actually switching from the old guys and bringing in new players. So these guys are actually trying to create new squads, new teams. So it's really going to take some time for them to be able to
transition. Also.
Exactly. So it's a matter of waiting. The more they play together, then you'll be able to see the kind of football you expect to see from them.
Well, we will see. Well, we are still watching Football Corner, a show where we give you the best of prediction, highlights, and much more of updates and everything concerning football, especially the Africa Cup, which is ongoing, and also the UEFA National League and the upcoming AFCON, where we will see our Zambian national team, the females, they will be playing in Morocco. We are expecting your support, and I'm sure you will give them the same vibe you gave the male side when we were playing Comoros. Yeah, now shifting back our attention to the National League, UEFA National League. Yesterday's results, especially for big national teams, were not so impressive, because we saw the likes of England drawing against Italy. I think for Italy, the result has been pathetic. They failed to qualify for World Cup, and even in the National League now, despite being the champion, but they are failing to beat even smaller teams like Macedonia.
Well, maybe they are still disappointed. I mean, after missing out another World Cup, and again this time around they won't be playing another World Cup, you feel disappointed, and maybe that's the reason why they've been recording poor results.
So, are you also thinking maybe it's because of the same transition we are talking about, coming from the good player that we used to know, like the likes of Chiellini, Bonucci, now with the combination of new youngsters? Is it really the matter that is affecting the teams in terms of performance, or maybe just coaches, because of the changes of coaches and the playing styles and tactics?
For Italy, I wouldn't say that, because if you did watch the Euros, you saw how they performed. These guys actually were dominant throughout the whole competition. So I don't say that. I mean, they are the European champions. So if they do perform the same way they did, we shouldn't even put them in the same topic as these guys who are transitioning to another squad.
Yeah, and they have experienced players.
Exactly.
All experienced players.
Yeah.
The majority are above 25, compared maybe to the likes of Spain, who have youngsters who are less than 23 years old. They are still not fully mature. And when they were playing yesterday against England, you can even see that they didn't have that much zeal, like you said. Maybe they are still upset about not qualifying for the World Cup. But the same problem was seen even in the England side. And for England, I've noticed that even them, they are failing to give good result as we expect them, because most of the time they have quality players.
Yeah, for England, what I can say is I think the team is big for Southgate, because Southgate has a lot of players to choose from, but it seems he doesn't know how to combine them, because every time he does make the starting lineup, you find some people will be saying, why didn't he play this one instead of this one? So England actually has
the same debate we are having in Zambia.
England has a lot of players to choose from, but the way, it's more like Southgate just doesn't know how to use these players.
I remember in the 2018 World Cup, he was forced to use youngsters who are not fully mature to the tournament. But they played well compared to the current crop of players they have now.
Well, what I can say, what I can
The
say
one
on
we
that
are so-called the most quality players.
you know one thing about England players. There are these guys who are overpriced, overrated.
The one who are overrated.
Exactly. So once these guys come into camp, they feel like maybe they are more superior than other players. As a result, they don't even pay attention or actually do what the manager is asking them to do. And that's the reason why they keep on recording poor results. But when you bring in someone who's eager to play, someone who's thirsty, maybe they do want that exposure, they'll try by all means to impress. And as a result, you find that they're actually winning and recording good results.
But for England, I've noticed that they've never had a consistent team compared to the 2004 and 2002 team, like the likes of Paul Scholes, Lampard, and Gerrard, as well as Carrick and Owen Hargreaves. At least they were consistent to up to maybe 4. They played at least 2-3 World Cups compared to the current crop of players. It's all rotational every time. You see that this tournament we notice new England players, youngsters. The other tournament, different faces. What do you think might be the case?
Well, from what I've noticed, back then the media wasn't much into it.
Okay.
But this time around, if you see,
so in short, the media.
Yes, whenever Southgate makes a lineup, these guys will come through. BT Sports, this and this and this. They'll be like, he started this one instead of this one. Why not this one? Why not this one? You see. So as a result, I think even Southgate himself does actually get like, okay, why is it that whenever I do this, it's more like there is someone else out there who knows exactly what's supposed to be done. You see. So the media actually has been playing a huge role in what's currently happening in the squad. If those guys could just let Southgate do his job and maybe make his own decisions, maybe it could be easy for him. But
maybe there will be change of results.
And like everyone has his own lineup, and this guy brings in another lineup, so it's a lot of work for him.
All right, you're still watching Football Corner, a show where we give you the best of prediction, highlights, and more much of updates, and especially everything that is happening in the Football Corner. And we bring it right here on the table. We bring in guests who give us some in-depth analysis on the game that were played during the week, as well as on the weekend, and also the upcoming games. But we're gonna take a short break. But when we come back, we're gonna look at we're gonna look more in details in the Africa Cup of Nations, especially the women's. See you on the other side.
No, I mean, my job is to find out exactly what your thoughts are.
But you must also...
But it's darkest before dawn. We are at this hour where the pressure is being felt, where you can't get a call.
I don't see it as criticism. I see it as advice. Yes. If you see the way our statements are couched, we advise him on
perform very well, because sometimes it's important to admit that we had the challenges here and there, not because we wanted to do so, but
you go to procurement, there are all those issues of procurement. You want to clean that department.
We are not going to allow cadres
shocking
into a level where the economy is sustainable for almost the average Zambian. That is very important, because if we miss that,
Welcome back to Football Corner, a show where we give you the best of fixtures, highlights, updates, and much more of football concerns. Especially, we are entering the window transfers, and we'll see a number of players shifting from one club to another. But for today, we are just focusing on the game that were played during the week as well as on the weekend. And now we were just talking about the Euros, and I'm having my guest Sanga, whom we are looking at this game that were played during the week as well as on the weekend. Sanga, we were just talking about the Euros.
Yeah.
the UEFA National League, and we've seen the dominance from other teams, especially Portugal. But unfortunately, yesterday they drew. And is it because of Ronaldo? Everybody is saying every time Ronaldo is missing in the squad, either Manchester United or Portugal, the teams either they will draw or lose. Do you think Ronaldo is still the major factor in these both teams, club and national team?
The first thing you should understand is you shouldn't listen much. You shouldn't pay attention to the media.
No, I'm not paying attention.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the result that I've noticed without Ronaldo.
These critics are created by the media. What you have to do is just watch the game when Ronaldo is playing and when Ronaldo is not playing. That's the only time you can actually see that this is the reason. This is what happens when Ronaldo is playing. Maybe they dominate much, or they are less dominant.
And that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Because I was watching the previous game when Ronaldo played. Yeah, he didn't score, but the players were looking more confident compared to yesterday. You remember they hammered Switzerland in the first game with a good margin compared to yesterday, and they are few shot on target compared to the last time when Ronaldo played. You understand? That's the reason why I'm saying, is it a trend now when Ronaldo is not there? The players, maybe they will lose a little bit of confidence. They are not trusting themselves because Bernardo Silva was so good in the previous game compared to yesterday.
If you notice, for example, these guys who play in the Premier League, you've met Ronaldo before. So when you meet him for the second time, you know what to expect. And before meeting such a player, actually, you do go in training, and they'll teach you on how to approach that game.
So you have to feed it to Ronaldo.
Exactly. So you have to defend.
Now when he's not there.
And you are prepared to meet Ronaldo. Then they bring in someone with different tactics and all that, someone with different gameplay. You'll be confused because you didn't prepare well for it.
Yeah, but we are hoping Portugal. I think from their performances, do you think they will continue dominating even in the World Cup?
Yeah, I expect them to be dominant.
Yeah,
that's
are they
something.
The favorite? Because Brazil haven't lost the game. Brazil and Argentina haven't lost the game yet.
A lot of good teams. There are actually a lot of good teams who are performing well. There is Brazil, Argentina, as well as Portugal, themselves as well. So, anyway, we just have to wait and see because we can't tell who's going to win it.
Let's shift our attention now back to the local side. Zambia national team will play against Lesotho in September. And what changes are you expecting?
Well, the only change I'm expecting is Mavika coming into the squad. That's the only change I'm expecting. But I would rather prefer this time around we approach the game in a different manner, whereby maybe we can be more attacking, hence using 3 at the back, 4, and just going on and forth like that. Because most of the time it seems we are defending more and attacking less. So this time around we just need to attack because when we travel, we need to go there in search of a win, not a draw, something like that. Because this time around we need a win if we are going to stay in a position where we'll be able to qualify.
Another thing that is worrying fans is the selection of players. We've seen people were arguing the way our coach Asanovic chose some players, especially the way he's aligning them in the lineup, the starting 11, leaving the likes of Kampamba out, who's the natural defensive midfielder, now is converting other players. Okay, from your point of view, do you think Kampamba should start or Queens Kangwa?
Well, when these guys are training, I'm never there to notice how they are performing. The only person who knows how these guys perform is the coach and the technical bench, those guys who are there. So these guys are the only ones who can come up with such a decision because they know the weaknesses each player has. So at the end of the day, you know who's fit to play and who's not fit to play in which position.
Kingsley Kangwa played well in the last game against Comoros, and we saw the beautiful goal that he scored. And I was watching his previous games at club level. He has been scoring the same goals. Now, that has brought a lot of debate that maybe it's time to start him and also maybe partner him with Kampamba as well as Enoch Mwepu. And maybe shifting back again Enoch Mwepu in the attacking force that we can, so maybe we can find a chance to accommodate Emmanuel Banda. Do you share the same thoughts?
I wouldn't say that. You know why? Just like I said, I'm never there when these guys are training. The coach knows who does play well with who.
No, from your point of view,
Yeah,
whom
that's
you
what
prefer?
I wouldn't say that.
Why?
You know what? I don't watch these guys play. I don't watch them train.
No, from the previous game that we've seen them, like the way we watched them against Komoro, they performed well. We saw how, for instance, Frankie Msonda. In the previous game against Ivory Coast, he was worse and everybody were questioning his abilities. But in the Comoros, he was deemed as man of the match. We watched those games.
Yeah.
And we can analyze and say, okay, from the way these guys played, we can partner them with this one and this one. That's the opinion I'm saying.
Yes, I would start Kings Kangwa, yes, in midfield with Mwepu, yes. But it's all about, are we going to play defensive or attacking? So that's the question we are supposed to ask ourselves. If we are going to play defensive, then we should bring in someone in the midfield who's defensive-minded. But if we are going to be attacking, then we should pair Mwepu with someone who's attack-minded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now, just before, let's shift a little bit our attention to the women national team. The selection, Bruce Mwape selected the team and it has brought a lot of controversy, leaving the likes of Nachula, Lecho Nachula, Kundananji, as well as our goalkeeper. Now, people are saying these are stars that we've seen that they are performing well.
Yeah.
What would have been the case for Faz leaving these guys?
Well, it's not only about Faz, but the coach as well.
Yeah.
Because you just don't select players. Yes, someone can be doing better than the others, but when selecting, actually, you need to see, are these guys in good form? Is this person fit? And again, you know, in some of these tournaments, there are aspects these guys follow. So some of those, the Faz has to abide to them. So we wouldn't even be in a position to question why this one is not playing and why this one is playing.
Lecho Nachula and Lecho Kundananji, they've been performing well at their clubs, and we've seen. And from the tweet that Lecho Nachula posted, Lecho Kundananji posted, it showed that from our side, she's just fine. But look at the statement that Faz. This is the statement that Faz issued 2 weeks ago. The Football Association of Zambia has been inundated with queries in the aftermath of the unveiling of the final 23 members African Women Cup of Nations squad by the Zambia senior women national team technical coach. Faz fully appreciate the interest in the team that has become a darling of the masses over the years due to its lapid lies. Now, this is the statement. We wish to take note of the flurry of comment that has flooded our office in the aftermath of unveiling of the final squad heading to Morocco next week for an international camp preceding the Alcon tournament. So some players will not make the squads based on various reasons. Among them is illnesses, form, and some aspect of tournament regulation that do not make it open-ended for participation, and some of the reasons are preserved of the tournament organizers. And we are also conscious of the fact that we are not at liberty to debate certain procedural aspects involving private individuals or players. And now this is what brought the more debate. People, they are saying, from the way they've been watching these girls, the girls are just fine from the outlook of things. But then there are procedures that the Faz are stated. But what could be the matter? What could be your assumption?
Well, Well, just like you said, these players have been playing, and from what you've seen, they are not ill and they've been in form. But first did make mention that there are some tournament regulations which they need to abide to. And they didn't specify on that matter. So only FAS actually can answer that question, because they are the ones
and they are
who
not clear.
Exactly. They are the only ones who know exactly what these regulations are. So you
Well, our football fans, what do you think of this decision? Do you think Lecho Nachula, Lecho Kundananchi was supposed to make it in the women's national team, or maybe based on the reason that the FAS has given us, they're not fit to be in the team? Well, all you have to do, you can send us your prediction of the games, like what these guys did when we were playing Lesotho. I mean, Comoros. They predicted the games and how and the outcome of the game. You can also do the same. Look at the thing that look at this prediction.
The score between Zambia and Comoros will be 2-1. Zambia will score 2, and then Comoros will score 1.
Yeah, so all you have to do, you can also send us your videos predicting the games of your choice, any game that you think of, and you can send us your videos and we'll play them here to see if you are good in predicting games. So now, in conclusion, just less than 30 seconds, what do you think of the national team? Are we going to qualify for Africa Cup?
Yes,
or there is a doubt?
Yes, we will. If you saw what happened at Heroes last time out, the fans turned out in numbers, and we did support the team. So these guys were actually motivated. If we can do the same in these other remaining games, then there shouldn't be any problems.
All right, you've been watching Football Corner, and these are the fixtures of the game that were played during the week, and we'll be looking at the game that we'll play next week as well on Friday when we have another edition of Football Corner. So all you have to do is just watch the show on Friday, 11 hours, and we will give you more fixtures. So these are the fixtures that we had this week, and we see how the Netherlands, I mean the National League games which were played, and the game that will be played as well. So this has been Football Corner, and I have been your host, PC Williams. I was joined by Sanga, and we'll see you on Friday.